Blessings and welcome to the Path to Freedom. My name is Daniel Roquéo, and as always, thank you so much for tuning in, for joining me in a moment of expanding our consciousness, in a moment of raising our vibration, in a moment of allowing for more peace and more love and more joy and more harmony and more abundance and beauty and all of these beautiful divine qualities to well up from within us, to emerge from within us, where there always are. We're not ever missing them. They're not ever absent or lacking, but sometimes we're not aware that they're there. And so that is the work that we get to do as we move along this beautiful path. We get to realize that they are always there, regardless of external conditions, regardless of what is happening in the world, and regardless of even the experiences that we are having, perhaps thought forms that we are becoming aware of, or emotions or feelings that we are becoming aware of. So this is a beautiful path of freedom, where we set ourselves free to be in joy, to be in love, and to be in harmony, and all of those. So and so much of what we're talking about is related to practice, some kind of practice. There are so many practices that we have at our disposal, that we have at our fingertips, that we have it in our toolbox, that we can pick up and use whenever we feel inspired, whenever we feel in need, and obviously in the moments in between, not only as a 911 kind of thing, not only as an emergency tool, but we're always wise to have a solid, stable practice to keep our consciousness high, to stay in that high vibration, and to keep expanding it and keep raising it. So to sort of inoculate ourselves from the fear and the worry and the doubt that is so running rampant in the world right now. Today, we're turning our attention toward one of these tools. It is a beautiful tool, and I'm confident that you've heard about it, that you know about it, and that you probably practice it. If you're tuning into this, I'm guessing that gratitude, because this is about gratitude, that gratitude is a part of your practice already. As for many of us, gratitude is a large part of my life and a huge contributor to all of the good that keeps flowing into my life. And today I want to share, because just recently I was moved into expanding my gratitude practice. I was listening to an individual sharing, and I'm not quite sure what it is that she was sharing, but she was talking about gratitude in general, and she was talking more about living in the field of yes and thank you, which is for another day, for another talk. But hearing her speak sort of allowed something to transform within me. And I realized that I can lean more into gratitude than I'm already doing. So during my day, I wake up in gratitude, I end my day in gratitude, and from time to time during the day, I move into gratitude, giving thanks for the good that is here, the challenges that I'm moving through, recognizing that these are gifts and blessings in disguise, not in disguise, but these are gifts and blessings of transformation. But I can expand that. And so what happened was that I came to realize that I can move through my day living in the land of thank you, living in the land of thank you, in a perpetual state of being, of giving thanks for anything, for everything, whatever comes to mind as I say these words. So how I have begun to use this practice is that I stop And I say the words, thank you, God. Thank you, God. As God is the only source and supply, it is not more than fair that we credit all the good to spirit, or the one mind, or the one intelligence, or the one power, or universe, or life, or whatever we want to call it. But we want to attribute the good to the source of that good. And as everything comes from God, arises out of God, is in God, we might as well give God a piece of our appreciation. So that's how I lean into it. Thank you, God. And then whatever comes to mind, thank you, God, for these beautiful clothes that I'm wearing. Thank you, God, for this beautiful house that I get to have. Thank you, God, that I get to be of service. Thank you, God, for the abundance in our fridge. Thank you, God, for the health and the vitality of my body, of this body, this beautiful instrument that I get to have. Thank you, God, that I get to be an instrument. Thank you, God, that I get to be your humble servant. Thank you, God, for the love that we have in our family, for my family. Thank you. And I just keep going and going and going. I just keep on and on and on. And it doesn't really matter what I'm giving thanks to. The important thing, and this is the beauty, and this is the power of the practice of gratitude. When we give thanks, we are turning our attention from that which we don't want to experience to that which we wish to experience. So a lot of individuals are moving through life and they are complaining and they are bemoaning and they are resisting and they are in a state of, oh, I don't want that, and I don't want that, and I don't want to experience that, and I don't want to experience that. But guess what? As we've been talking about a whole lot, the sacred laws, they don't care what we're interested in. They don't care where we turn our attention. They don't care who we are, what we wish, what we don't wish. The only thing they care about is where we turn our attention to the most, what we think about the most, what we talk about the most, and most importantly, what we feel the most. So enters the beautiful practice of gratitude, where it allows us to turn our attention. I can be in the midst of experiencing an intense emotion, and I can be cooking. And in that intense emotion, let's say an emotion of resistance or anger, in that emotion, having that experience, I can turn my attention, lean into thank you, God, for all the beautiful ingredients. Thank you, God, for every individual that has contributed to this amazing food, this life nourishment, to find its way into my fridge, into my cupboard, onto my table, into my pot, into my frying pan. Thank you, God. There's so much good here. And so what I'm doing is that I'm turning my attention away from whatever it was that upset me, from whatever it was that gave rise within me to the anger. I turn my attention away from that and turn it toward the good that is here. The good that is here. And so as I'm raising my vibration, as I'm expanding my consciousness, and this goes for all of us, as we are raising our vibration, as we are expanding our consciousness, turning our attention toward what we wish to experience, the sacred laws can only mirror and reflect that, more of that. So there's a beautiful, the law of gratitude actually states that the more we are grateful, the more we will be given to be grateful for. And this obviously, it has to do with how these sacred laws work, how they operate, that they can only reflect and mirror back what we turn our attention to the most, what we think about the most, what we talk about the most, what we feel about the most. So actually living in the land of thank you makes us, we doesn't earn or deserve God's favor. God doesn't have any favors, and grace can never be earned. Grace meaning that God gives fully and freely of all of that which Spirit is. Grace can never be earned. We don't need to qualify ourselves. We don't need to deserve it. or make ourselves worthy of it, but it is always freely given. But as we turn our attention toward the good that is already here, not projecting it into the future, not remembering it from the past, but acknowledging it here and now, in this moment, what we're doing is that we are making ourselves open and available for more of that good to flow into our lives. So that's the dual power of gratitude. First of all, it feels darn good to be grateful. It feels a whole lot better to be in a state of gratitude, to be in the vibration of gratitude, than be in the vibration of, let's say, anger or fear or worry or doubt or resistance or whatever. It feels good to be grateful. It feels good to have a smile on my face, which is what gratitude brings. Not always, but when I really get into it, when I really feel it, that's what it brings. And we'll come back to this in a little while. So that's the one power of gratitude. And the second power is that the fruits that we get to, as we are planting seeds of gratitude, of thanksgiving, of appreciation, we get to harvest those seeds. We get to harvest the fruits of those seeds. And the fruits are more of good, more gifts, more blessings. And once again, not because God has suddenly caught, or because we have suddenly caught God's eye, and now we're in God's favor. No, but because we are open and receptive, we are available to receive the good that God is always seeking to give. So there's a dual power to gratitude. It lifts our vibration, it expands our consciousness, it makes us feel good, and we become the recipients of that good. So a question that I sometimes get is, well, what if I can't feel the gratitude? What if I can't feel thankful in this moment? And that's obviously all right. This is not only about making ourselves feel any kind of way. That would be spiritual bypassing, when I'm pretending that I'm not, when I'm perhaps in a low vibration, I'm pretending that I'm in a high vibration without moving from that low vibration to the high vibration. That's called spiritual bypassing. So I'm not denying perhaps that I'm feeling, let's go with upset. Let's say that I'm experiencing some upsetness, and I lean into thank you, God, that I get to be your humble servant here on this planet. And what if I don't feel grateful to be God's humble servant? I may not be feeling it at all. We're still wise to lean into the power of gratitude, to lean into the land of thank you. Because the more we lean into it, the more we make it a habitual part of our practice, a habitual part of our beingness. So even if I perhaps don't feel grateful in this particular moment, I'm still strengthening those presence muscles and spiritual muscles. So for every time we lean into thank you, ... we're building a practice, we're building a habit that absolutely serves us. So just because we don't feel it does not mean that we can't do it. Just because we can't feel it does not mean that we can't do it. So that's the invitation, to begin to cultivate, to lean into in every single, it takes 20 seconds at most to say, thank you, God, that I get to be here, that I get to be a vessel of love, that I get to serve, that I get to support, that I get to be healthy, that I get to enjoy abundance, Thank you, God, for the money that I have, for the health that I have. I may not have as much money as I want to. I may not have the health that I want to, but as I'm turning my attention, as we are turning our attention to what we wish to experience, that is what we're calling into our experience. So we can be in the midst of, let's say, a financial challenge or a health challenge, and we can still give thanks for the health that we wish to experience, for the wholeness that is here. Let's say that I have broken my finger. Well, that's one tiny part of the body that is not expressing the perfect wholeness. But the rest of the body is a beautiful testament. The lungs are working, the breathing apparatus is working, the circulatory system is working, the digestive system is working. There's so much that is beautiful expression of health and wholeness in every single moment, in any given moment. So we can turn our attention toward that. Why spend our attention on that little speck that is not to our liking? We get to choose. We get to choose in every single moment. So why not choose to lean into thank you, Spirit, that I get to smile. Thank you, Spirit, that I get to laugh. Thank you, Spirit, that I get to feel good about myself. Thank you, Spirit, for the trees outside my windows, the flowers, the beauty that is here, the wind, the gusts, the butterfly, the rose, the water in my shower or in the lake or in the river, the beautiful sky, the clouds. Thank you, God, for Mother Earth. Thank you, God, for strawberries or bananas or pineapples or kale or whatever the case may be. There is always, always something to be grateful for. So our invitation is to lean into that more and more and more to the very, very best of our ability. So thank you so much for tuning in, for participating. Until we meet again, I absolutely bless all of our days, and I bless all of our ways. Much love, many blessings. Namaste.